Alright, pull up a chair. Let me tell you about a wild story, one that happened a while back near this place in Vietnam called Thuan Kieu Plaza. This story came straight from a woman we'll call Ava. Back around 2003, Ava was just a middle-aged woman trying to make a living selling Chinese herbal drinks. She used to set up her little stall near the Thuan Kieu apartment complex. Things were tough. Her husband was away working most of the time, sometimes only coming home once a month. Her son, Henry, was about 6 years old back then. Since Ava was busy selling drinks by the roadside, she let Henry wander and play near the plaza. It was a good spot for him because there was a playground and lots of other kids Henry's age hung out there. Now, Ava admitted they were poor. So Henry, despite being 6, didn't know how to read or write. But here's where things got strange. After Henry started playing at that plaza playground, Ava noticed her son was beginning to learn how to read and write. Naturally, she was thrilled. To thank the other kids for helping her son, Ava would occasionally send them bottles of her cooling herbal drinks. Henry started making close friends. Some of those kids would take him home to play nearby, and some even brought him up into the apartment complex itself. Whenever Henry came home, Ava would ask if he had eaten. Every single time, Henry would say yes. He'd tell her about the delicious meals. One day it was squid, another day fish, and sometimes grilled meat. For Ava's poor family, meals like that were a total luxury. So she was happy, even if it meant she got a little too careless. Henry always asked permission to go to his friend's house, and Ava always agreed easily, never asking which friend or which house he was visiting. That carelessness is why the terrifying stuff that followed happened. The fun didn't last long though. One evening, Henry was sitting with Ava, late, maybe 6 or 7 o'clock, and hadn't gone out to play. Ava asked him, "Hey, why didn't you go play today? Didn't your friends call you up?" Henry said, "They did call me up, Mom, but I didn't dare go." Ava asked why, wondering if he was mad at his friends. Henry said, "Their house is really weird, Mom. All the friends I used to play with moved away. There's only one friend left, and he keeps asking me to come up, but it's super creepy. His mom can fly. She just flies around and around the rooftop. And my friend, he can spin his head around like a pinwheel, Mom. He looks awful too. He only has one side of his face left, and the other eye is just blood." When Ava heard this, she actually laughed. She didn't believe in ghosts. She told Henry, "Honey, you're describing a haunted house. You can't talk about your friend's family like that." Henry was too young to argue and just laughed. Ava didn't suspect a thing. In fact, she encouraged him to go back and play with his friend. About a month later, Ava's husband came home for a visit. The family was having a nice day, so they went out to eat and visited a temple. Ava is Asian, so having faith and worshipping the Buddha is normal for her. She went to the temple to thank the spirits for helping her sell her herbal drinks smoothly. While they were there, a monk thought Henry was adorable and picked him up for a cuddle. That's when Henry said something to the monk that left the holy man shocked and a little scared. The monk called Henry's parents over and asked them, "Did you teach him these scary phrases or did someone else?" Ava immediately thought Henry had cursed or insulted the monk. But the monk shook his head. He explained that Henry hadn't been offensive at all. He had been saying phrases, soul-calling incantations, the kind of spells that only professional sorcerers use to summon ghosts and spirits to the mortal world. That conversation with the monk absolutely ruined Ava's day. The monk assured her that someone must have taught Henry those terrifying words. Ava was confused. Henry only played with kids from Thuan Kieu Plaza, which, back in the early 2000s, was known for having rich folks living there. Heeding the monk's warning, Ava went home and immediately decided Henry couldn't go out to play anymore. She set up a Buddhist altar in the house and kept Henry away from the busy streets. The monk had warned her that wandering spirits were everywhere on the roads, and if Henry accidentally spoke one of those incantations, ghosts would come play with him. The story should have ended there, but it didn't. One particular day, Ava was swamped at her drink stall. Customers were lining up like crazy. She couldn't handle the rush. Henry seized the moment and asked if he could go up to his friend's apartment. In the frantic rush, Ava agreed without even thinking about it. When the crowd finally left, Ava took a breath. Then she panicked. She remembered Henry had been gone too long. She abandoned her stall right then and there to search for her son. She rushed into the children's playground area of the plaza. And that's when she saw something terrifying. At the end of the hallway, Ava saw a woman holding Henry's hand and leading him away. The woman leading her son was translucent, hazy, and smoky, like a wisp of vapor. Not only that, but she only had one leg. The woman was also holding another child in her free arm. When that child turned its head to look at Ava, it only had one eye. Ava knew instantly that the two figures were ghosts or spirits. She was terrified, but the maternal instinct took over. She knew if she didn't save him, she'd lose her son forever. She ran after them, screaming Henry's name. "Henry! Can you hear me? Henry!" Here's the thing, folks. Ava was less than 10 meters from that woman, and people nearby heard her scream. But Henry didn't react. He just kept walking silently after the woman. In that moment of pure terror, Ava could only drop to her knees. She started reciting Buddhist chants. She prayed out loud that if her son could just be safe, she would sacrifice 10 years of her own life. She kept chanting. Suddenly, she saw Henry rip his hand away from the ghost woman and run straight back to her. The woman and her child just kept walking forward, fading away at the end of the hallway. Ava didn't stop praying until Henry was back in her arms, hugging her tight. Ava recalled that her hands and feet were shaking so badly that when she finally packed up her drink cart and went home, she wouldn't let Henry out of her sight for even half a meter. After that horrifying incident, Ava and her husband moved their family far away from that area. Ava still sold her herbal drinks, and life got better for them. Most importantly, they were far away from that horrifying apartment building. Even now, over 20 years later, whenever Ava tells this story, Henry doesn't remember much. He doesn't remember how an illiterate little kid managed to memorize those soul-calling spells. But he still remembers one clear image of the people in Thuan Kieu Plaza. They would float gently on the ceiling, and they didn't have any legs.